Good evening, all. It's Tiago's father here from At the Red Sea podcast. We are live from the match reactions from the latest game here at Anfield. It was a packed stadium today to see the Reds return to action in their comfort of their own home. Our actual co-host SS was at the game and he is giving live match reactions from in the car because he's on his way back. Someone couldn't be asked to pay a bit more on the parking, but never mind. That's what happens. We're going live. Strap yourselves in. We cannot wait to bring this match reactions to you. A few talking points as well from the game. Andy Robertson obviously going down with a horrific injury, but hopefully it's nothing too much to worry about. Guys, make sure that you're locked in. Make sure you're following all the socials for the Red Sea podcast and the LFC Daytrippers. And we are ready to rock and roll. Yes, SS. How are you doing, my man? You good?
Yeah, getting there, mate. I've not been not shown my face for a while, have I?
I know you've been hiding, mate. The screen's missed your pretty little face, I'm sure.
Oh, thank you. No, there's some nice love in the comments the other day, so I appreciate that from everybody. Had a tough time lately.
Good. Nah, mate, it's good to have you back on, pal. It really, really is. You know, the dream team reunited again to absolutely tear up match reactions on the LFC Daytrippers. But plenty of talking points today. A few good ones, one bad one, but I'm sure we'll get into it. Comments are already booting off as well, as I'm sure you can imagine. We've got a few in here as well. One here, good run out for Beck. Yeah, I'd agree, but we'll get into that a little bit more at the, towards the middle of the show as well. This one here as well. My mental state can't deal with injury.
Who's it going to be this year?
Dude, I feel your pain. Honestly, I threw my head into my hands when I saw it. But again, we're going to go into that as well. And here we go. Here's another one. Match reactions from his car. Old school. I like it. James, don't give him any more props. I'm jealous. Yeah. Somehow my ticket made its way into his brother's hands. But we won't say who his brother supports. We won't get into that because we don't want the viewings and the ratings to drop down. But like I said, I'm happy to supply tickets for people to see real teams at any time if they want to. Got another great comment here as well. What's the latest with the injury? But we'll cover a bit of that off lately. So, SS, talk to me. First time back at Anfield, what was the atmosphere like?
Oh, mate, it's buzzing. I mean, I've not been myself for probably 2-3 years. You know, once Liverpool gets successful, everybody wants to go, don't they? But the good thing is they've changed the ticketing slightly. I know you're having a bit of a struggle with being a member and getting tickets, but I've been successful in the ballot. So for the Burnley match, so I'll be doing another live one there in a couple of weeks' time. But no, the atmosphere today was really good. Everybody just really happy and excited to be back, and that kind of community feel was back again. You know, people that sit next to each other week in, week out, that haven't seen each other for a couple of years, or almost a couple of years, reunited, talking about football, in the gangways. It was really, really special to see everybody, all different ages, all the way from 4 up to 84. It was really good, but it was quite difficult to get in. The queues were really big, and they trialed this new NFC pass today about getting it in your Apple Wallet, and it slowed everything down a little bit, if I'm honest. So that was the reason for the delay to the game, about half an hour wait. The match announcer did actually mistakenly say 5:30 kickoff, and everybody groaned, and then he's like, "Oh no, 4:30." So that was a funny bit. But now, just see everybody back, the flags, the banners, everybody was really friendly and smiley and happy, and the chants started going again, and once the players appeared from the tunnel, the goalies first as always, and then Van Dijk and Salah and all the familiar faces. Everybody was just really, really buzzing, and it was a top atmosphere.
Yeah, mate. And look, great comment here from Chris Beck. How you doing, pal? You all right, Chris? It's good to see this comment as well. Loved being in the cop today with my daughter. Listen, that's such a sensational thing. And a big shout out to one of our contributors over at the Red Sea podcast as well. Legacy fan Ian Young Cop. 3 generations in one photo at Anfield. That is amazing. And that is what our club is about. Keeping the supporters through the generations of your family. Unfortunately, that didn't happen in SS's family, because his brother crept through the net. But we won't go into that.
Next time.
And as I was saying, at least you kept the tradition. I'm going to have words with your dad. But never mind. Never mind. We move. But big shout out to you, Chris. Big shout out to you, Ian Young Cop, as well. Massive thing to have generations of fans in the stadium. And bringing that together atmosphere again, like you said, from what I was seeing on the pictures on LFC Go and on LFC TV, it looked absolutely amazing. A packed Anfield is something we haven't seen for such a long time. The chants were going, "You'll never walk alone," was ringing around the stadium as well. And you know what that does to you. It puts makes the hairs on the back of your neck stand up, doesn't it? Gives you the goosebumps, which is absolutely fantastic as well. But I just want to get into a little bit in regards to the game. I mean, who looked bright for you? And don't state the obvious, because we'll get onto that a little bit later. But who really made you think, do you know what? They could be a definite starter for the Norwich game on the weekend.
There was a couple that stood out to me. 2 different players at very different ends of the scale. Obviously, we were sitting in the main stand towards the corner where Trent took that very famous corner to Origi. So I had a really good view of Liverpool warming up, and we were doing some shooting drills. And Harvey Elliott, literally every single shot, top bins, left foot, right foot, comes in for a header, scores. Next one, left foot, top bins, right foot, top bins, header, goal. Unreal. And actually playing it about in the warm-up, when they start kicking it long to each other, around the worlds. Oh, the control, those kind of things that Thiago does in training, where he's like keeping it off the ground, smashing it 40 yards and controlling it again. He's got everything. To actually sit there and watch Elliott just chill and warm up was just absolutely sensational. And when he went into the game, he carried on. He looked bright, he looked hungry, he looked ready. He didn't look out of his depth. He looked like he deserved to be there. So as much as I've moaned for a Genie replacement, I genuinely think we have it already in Elliott in that midfield. He impressed me that much. I wouldn't be afraid to see him play, him, Jones, Ox and Keita, filling in that other role with Fabinho and Henderson. I'd have no trouble with that whatsoever, as much as I'd like a new signing for injuries and stuff like that. But no, Elliott was absolutely outrageous and was very, very unlucky not to score the winner in the second half. He moved out to the right-hand side when Jota came off. They put Salah through the middle. He cut inside on his left foot, beat the man, curled it, hit sort of the bar / the post, the kind of corner part, which would have made this match reaction very different. We would have been cheering the 2-1 win. But Elliott stood out for me for sure. But the other person that stood out for me was Virgil van Dijk. So, seeing him back at Anfield, just seeing him in the flesh, he's just an absolute colossus. He just has that aura about him. And he was a little bit slow to start with, a little bit off the pace. They got an early cross in through Inaki Williams, and he was a little bit slow to close down. But on the ball, still doing his pinging, straight to foot, 40, 45-yard passes, but not easy ones over the back, over the left back for Salah to run, so over the right back for Robertson to get on the end of. So I was really impressed with him, and he definitely grew into the game. He started to go into challenges a little bit harder. He started to have a little bit more confidence and control, because it's been a very long time since we've seen him, run out at Anfield. So they were the 2 that stood out for me.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And as more people join the broadcast, we're up to 37 people watching now. Guys, please don't forget to smash the like button as well. Head over to LFC Daytrippers and give us a subscribe also. And whilst you're at it, type the Red Sea podcast in on YouTube and hit that like and subscribe button also. Mate, I have to agree with you. Virgil van Dijk being back on our screens again, and also back running at Anfield again, is a fantastic thing. It's been so long since we've really seen him in the red of Liverpool, especially in front of a home crowd as well. And sure, that's going to give his confidence the world of good. Like you said, a bit slow to start at the beginning, but I think that's the match pace and the match fitness. Once you've been out for nearly a year, because we're heading, we're in August, two months time, October. It's been a year since he's been playing competitive football. So it's going to take him a bit of time to get the rhythm back in his game, but I'm sure he'll pick it up pretty quickly. A player which I'd like to single out for some praise was Mane. Mane looked bright. Like, he looked at it. You know, that Mane, which we're used to seeing, closing people down, making it awkward for people to play, you know, forcing mistakes in the opposition. I think he was kind of at the heart of a lot of Liverpool's press. Him and Jota worked really, really well closing the opponent down in trying to make them or force them into mistakes early doors. I really, really liked Harvey Elliott as well. He had two opportunities with that kind of shimmy and curl, didn't he? The first one went a little bit wide, which was unfortunate. And then the second one hit the bar. And like you said, if that goes in, we're celebrating a 2-1 win, and Anfield absolutely erupts. You just heard the gasp when it hit the crossbar, thinking, oh, you know, you're looking, thinking that's in, and then it hits the bar, which is beautiful. We got James back in the comments as well. You never walk alone. Being sung in a packed Anfield gave me goosebumps. You and me too, pal. It's a shame that I couldn't be there, but tomorrow it's my turn.
You're there, yeah. We'll swap roles.
Yeah, we're swapping roles. I'll be taking 2 generations down to Anfield. It's actually my middle son's first time at Anfield. He doesn't know. It's an absolute secret. So, Remy Lloyd, if you're watching this, turn off now. But yeah, it's going to be a good chance to be back at Anfield and watch some games or watch the game again live. I haven't been there for a while myself, but it's good. It's going to be good to get back in that atmosphere. Something I'm really, really looking for. James in the comments as well. Mane's hairline coming back. Mane Ballon d'Or winner. I agree with you. I think he's taken the hint and got a new trim, mate. If I'm being honest, maybe he sacked off his barber as well as a nutritionist because he looks super fit and super healthy. So let's move a little bit into the Robertson injury. Something that we never ever want to see in pre-season. It's always difficult when players go down injured, and you always fear the worst. But watching it back, you saw the ankle roll, and you're sitting there thinking, please don't be ligaments. Please don't be a break. Because if it's ligaments, you're looking at probably a month on the sidelines, which probably takes him up to the international break before he's fit. Yeah. What's your thoughts, mate? What's your thoughts?
I mean, I've only actually seen it live. I've seen a quick still of it as well, where it looks like he's obviously rolled his ankle, but it looked pretty innocuous at the start. It didn't look anything too serious. He was running over, blocking a cross, just kind of got his foot stuck underneath him and kind of span round, and you hear the shout. Both hands go straight to the foot. And from watching it live, you're thinking, oh, is it a metatarsal? Is it something like that? But yeah, like you say, it's a twisted ankle, and I don't think it's too bad because the whole of Anfield, breathed a massive shock. You just heard everybody go.
He walked away, didn't he? He walked away.
Yeah, exactly. They brought the gas and air over. They brought the stretcher over. He denied both. He got up. He put his arm around a couple of the coaches and had a little limp off, and did put a little bit of weight on it as he came off. And Jurgen came over, and they had a little smile to each other. So I don't think it's going to be absolutely horrendous. I think it could be a bit of a twisted ankle, which let's hope is a couple of weeks max. If it's more, then we've got Kostas Tsimikas, which everybody's been shouting out to have an opportunity for anyway. So he might exactly get that chance. But yeah, it was a shame. It was right on half time. It was about a minute left, so obviously Beck came on at the start of the second half and actually thought he looked pretty good, to be brutally honest with you. But yeah, like you say, we've got such a machine of a team. Every cog makes that difference. And honestly, Liverpool came out for the second half after that Robertson injury, and they did never ever look the same.
I agree. I mean, seeing Robbo go down, because he's a player that is just an absolute machine and keeps going and going and going. So when a man like him goes down and he's clutching at his ankle, you often fear the worst. And like you said, he has walked away from it, denied the gas, denied the air. Obviously denied the stretcher also, which meant that he walked away, and it looks like it could potentially be a short stay on the sideline. Big shout out to Daddy Pig. Daddy Pig, you are idolised by my youngest child. He is a huge fan of your daughter Pepper. If you could sign an autograph and send it in to me, please, that would be absolutely appreciated. But yeah, agree with Daddy Pig here as well. Don't think it's a bad injury. If he is out for 2 weeks at the most,
it's one of them, isn't it? Because it's a pre-season friendly. If it's a 5% chance of a long term, you take him off, don't you? If it's not worth 100%. It. So 100%. That's all it was, precautionary.
Yeah, I agree. Big shout out to you again, Chris, as well. I'll be there tomorrow too. Chris, we need to hook up, my man. It'll be good to actually see your pretty face outside Anfield under the lights, and obviously, take in and digest the game together, which would be great. I plan on doing match reactions outside of Anfield because I'm not a cheapskate and I'm going to pay for a full day's parking. Unlike
What
someone that I
time's
know.
kickoff tomorrow? What time's kickoff?
7, I think.
Okay, because all the car parks seem to shut. Ours shut at 7, so it wasn't like we could even stay if we wanted to. We had to just rush back. But I don't know what it'd be like tomorrow. I'm looking forward to seeing you make it work tomorrow. I'll see if you.
I'm going to try and make it work. Sounds like excuses, SS. I just think you didn't want to dip your hand in your pocket for the change for the car park.
It was £8 at 7 p.m. shut, unfortunately. So we had to get a bit of a jog on because obviously with the match delay as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because obviously the match delay. And do you know what? On LFC TV, they made a hash of that. I didn't catch the what the commentator said, but I think he said something a bit crazy because afterwards they're coming at him kind of profoundly apologising for something that he said. I'm looking for it on the internet and I can't find it. But he said something, but I'm not quite sure what. James in the comments as well, mate. Tsimikas in at the deep end. I totally agree with you. Tsimikas has been bright in this pre-season, so he certainly deserves a chance. I think he's a bit of a cross merchant, which isn't such a bad thing when you've got Mane in the box looking to attack those. Jota also looking to attack those as well, who are very, very good at their heads. So giving Tsimikas an opportunity isn't going to be such a bad thing. But I think Klopp's got a selection dilemma for tomorrow because obviously Robbo played today. You probably would have expected Tsimikas to play tomorrow. You know, with Norwich in the week or in a week's time, do you take that risk and throw Tsimikas in for some much needed minutes, or do you rest him for tomorrow's game, knowing that you've got a young Chris Beck that can come on and potentially play that position because he only had 20 minutes in today, or only had a half of football in today, so it might be a good opportunity maybe to throw him back in and then rest Tsimikas.
I think you've got a. You know, we're a week away from the season. I think the idea was to give everybody as much as possible 90 minutes of football and, you know, at least 75 to 80. So I was having a think looking at the lineup today and, you know, having a little prediction of what you might see tomorrow. And I think Tsimikas will definitely be starting tomorrow's match. I think he'll be seeing Kelleher, Gomez, Konate, probably Nico Williams, Tsimikas. I'm not sure on the fitness and availability of Fabinho, Henderson and Thiago, but I'd expect maybe one of them with an Ox or a Curtis Jones in midfield and maybe Origi, Shaqiri, front three. So everybody that basically didn't start today. And I think we'll see a similar bench that we saw today. I think it will be the same bench. I think Beck will probably feature again tomorrow. We saw Woodburn come on today. I don't really know what the point of that was. He's not going to feature this season. Kane came on. Morton came on. Shame that Gordon didn't today because I think he's been the brightest youngster in pre-season. But I think it will be the other 11 that we haven't seen that we know is the first team tomorrow, and very similar bench to today, really.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. And it's always good to utilise your squad, whether it be pre-season or whether it be actually in the season, because it does give you kind of a barometer of where everybody's at as well. So, guys, in the comments, keep sending your comments in as well. Smash the likes for me, please. Like and subscribe if you aren't already. You can catch myself and SS over at the Red Sea Podcast on Twitter, YouTube, and on Instagram. And guess what, guys? We now have a TikTok too. One of our co-hosts were also at Anfield as well. So big shout out to Courtney. It's good to see her getting in and around amongst it as well. I know she was in and around it too. So you had a bit of Red Sea Podcast representation at Anfield today, and we're looking forward to being around there for the rest of the season and bringing you your match reactions live as and when we can. So another player I want to talk about today as well was Alisson Becker.
Yeah.
Now, at the start of the game, he actually came out and thanked the supporters for their support. Obviously, in a tough time that he's had over the last season, the untimely passing of his father as well, not being able to fly back to his country or his place of birth to actually be around for his family. And he spoke about this in his interview after he signed his extension with the club, about feeling the warmth of the supporters and obviously not being able to go home during this period of time. So, I really, really feel for Alisson and what he's gone through. I mean, but today looked like an accomplished performance. I mean, some of the saves that he made today is like nothing's ever happened, so to speak.
Yeah, I think he's an adopted Scouser, isn't he? My brother made a really good comment and said, he's only been here a short term, but he's already a Liverpool legend, which just shows you the impact he's had since he's been here, and how much we've all taken him to our hearts. I think we've been crying out for a top goalkeeper for the best part of 10, 15 years since Pepe Reina came in 2006. So it's a massive boost to see someone like Alisson back in goal. And obviously most of the pre-season so far it's been a mixture of Kelleher, Karius, Adrian, and none of them really are at that level. But seeing Alisson there, not even necessarily the saves he makes, but his presence is just so much more. And the likes of Van Dijk just have so much trust in Alisson Becker to do the right thing. But I think in terms of his performance today, I think the saves, yes, were quite good. I think his positioning, he's never lost that. He makes the difficult stuff look easy, but I still think he's a little bit short on his kicking game at the moment. From what we know he's capable of. I think his distribution with his hands and throwing out is absolutely exceptional, and we've seen him start counter attacks with that. We've seen him create goals with that, but he still looked a little bit off it with his feet. A lot of little touches and being closed down quite quickly, and I think he needs to speed it up a little bit. And there was a few wayward ones as well. Ended up going out for throw-ins, or he's held onto it too long and he's just got to kick it out instead of conceding. So, he didn't feature majorly in the Copa America, I believe. I think Ederson was featuring a little bit more as well. So, even though yes, he had a little bit of a break, he was still there. But I really think he needs to work on his kicking game, because I can see us conceding a goal if that doesn't improve.
Do you know what? I'd like to disagree politely. But the thing is, though, is without risk, there's no reward. So I've said this before. When he plays out from the back and it comes off, he looks like Pele with gloves. When it doesn't come off, we're like, oh my God, what's he done? This and that. Let the kid play. More often than not, he's been successful with his feet. We think about the assist that he got for the goal from Mo Salah at Anfield. What a phenomenal bit of distribution. Yeah. We think about in his first season when he actually decided to chip a player and play out. The confidence that the kid has to actually play football with his feet is absolutely phenomenal. So, there's no risk, there's no reward without risk. Sorry, SS, while I put this comment in the bin, bear with me. I'm just going to take the trash out. There you go. In the bin.
I wanted to get onto that actually.
Go on. Give me your take. Give me your take.
So it's completely obvious. Do you hear me?
Yeah, I can still hear you, pal.
I'm still in it. Can you hear me, mate?
I can still hear you.
Oh, sorry, no, yeah. So I was just saying, on the way to the game today, that the news broke that Lautaro Martinez is being linked with a £60 million move to Spurs. And for me, if we let that happen without even raising an eyebrow, there's some serious questions to be asked. We're absolutely dying for a number 9 striker that can score goals. We did a lot of creativity today. One chance fell to Mane and carried on from where he was last season, just straight at the goalkeeper. Really poor. Mo Salah gets doubled up on, and Jota gets the goal today, which was good. But again, they're all quite interlinking. They all like pulling wide. We're missing a number 9 in the box. Every time the ball's going in, there's maybe 2 against 7, and it's a numbers game at the end of the day. So we need to go and get a number 9. I wouldn't say our front three suck, but by all means, we absolutely need a new number 9. And if Martinez is being linked with a team like Spurs in the Conference League for £60 million, we need to cough up and go, actually, do you know what? 23, 24-year-old in that number 9 mould that would suit us. If we've got 60, 65 million pounds, we need to go and do it. We've spent that kind of money on positions we need before. If we let this one slip, 1 year's time, Firmino's another year older, he scored another 10 goals in the season at best, and we're scratching around, and there's only really the Haaland and the Mbappe, and we're not getting them either. So for me, we need to move in the market.
Do you know what? I agree with some of what you said, and I disagree with some of it. The parts that I agree with is, yes, I think we do need to bring a striker in. I do. I think it's a position which is of paramount to us at the moment. The part that I disagree with is, I'm not sure Lautaro Martinez is the guy we should be looking at, because he hasn't got a. Inter Milan employed a little and big kind of combination. He played off Lukaku, and Lukaku played off him. How would a player like that fit into our system? Yes, he's very dogged in the mould of a Firmino, but at the same time, I don't know if he could score in the amount of goals that we need. Now, if you're FSG, you're looking at this strategically. You're thinking next year, Mbappe is available on a free. Guys, humour me on this. Humour me, yeah. Mbappe is available on a free. I'm not saying it's going to happen because I am not a transfer guru. Disclaimer. But let's look at this subjectively. Mbappe's available on a free. Haaland then has a £75 million buyout clause. If you're FSG, you're sitting there thinking, 60 million on Lautaro Martinez, potentially a free with a signing on fee for Mbappe, or a £75 million or a £75 million Erling Haaland. It's risky. It's risky in the here and now. Yes, it makes sense in the here and now, but we can't forget the forces that are at play in the background with some of these contractual situations with these other players. Is it Michael Edwards playing 3D chess as per normal? We know that we have to move players on due to our situation with our homegrown quota before we can go out and sign. Divock Origi seems like he's holding on with his fingernails. Yeah, Shaq seems like he's holding on with his fingernails to staying at Liverpool Football Club. Are we going to see some major movement towards the tail end of the window? Now, I came in for a bit of criticism on Twitter earlier on this morning and a bit today when I said that it seems like Saul Niguez could be close. Yeah, I said seems and could be close. Now, I'm not a transfer expert. I'm not a transfer guru. When something passes my desk, I feel obligated to share it with the Liverpool fans. Yeah, simple as that. So we don't know what's going to happen, SS. I agree with you in the short term and the interim. We do need to find some goals because, like you said, there was a lot of opportunities that were created today, and it didn't feel like we were putting them away. So what's kind of like your take on? Because obviously Firmino wasn't playing today. What's your take on Mane and his finishing ability, and what's your take on Mo Salah and his finishing ability?
I mean, I think everybody knows my take on Mo Salah's finishing ability, the best in the world. But, you know, Firmino's been off it for 2 years. Mane's been off it for 1. We're hoping Mane rebounds and comes back to what he's been at before, but it's no guarantee he will. You know, I think Mo Salah's the only one you can guarantee, put your house on and say he's going to score 20 Premier League goals, and the other two, I wouldn't put my house on them getting half of that, unfortunately, currently in form. So we need to go and get a striker with. Even if you get Haaland on 75 million, his wages are outrageous. His signing on fee is outrageous. His agent's fee is outrageous. It's not happening. Same with Mbappe. If you get Mbappe on a free transfer, how much money do you think he's going to be demanding in wages? The only place he's going,
I agree with you,
and that's it.
I agree with you.
So that's not happening.
I agree with you.
Someone like Martinez, for me, I would challenge everybody in the comments to tell me a better striker that's available on a better deal than £60 million right now than that, because I couldn't think of one better than that.
I don't disagree with you. I think the challenge lies in just revisiting my take on Mbappe and Haaland. I think FSG look at it and they look at it subjectively. There are numbers. They're a numbers game. With them, it's numbers. And if they're sitting there thinking, the market could change next year because these players are going to become available. Spurs are only acting because they're desperate, because they're potentially losing Harry Kane. You know, in a position where they're not losing Kane, they're not going out and flogging 60 million on a striker because they don't have it. They don't have 60 million to play out on a striker. Spurs are not that same sort of club. So the only reason why they're looking at it is because
he's only coming in, isn't he? He's only going in if Kane goes.
If Kane goes. So, and again, is Kane about to walk out of Spurs? You know, is that going to happen? So, you know, we wait with bated breath. There's still 2 or 3 weeks left in the window. There's still plenty of time to do business. I think Liverpool will bring some people in, but whether it's the people we want, we don't know. I mean, Daddy Pig makes a very, very good... I can't believe I'm calling a grown man Daddy Pig. I'm going to have to call you DP. DP makes a great comment as well.
Yeah.
400k on a week on FSU off 100. They probably will heavily incentivize. This is what they do. They try and drive the price down. We know what FSG are like. You know, it's run no certain terms about that. I'm just being subjective in a sense that there are players which are potentially better than him, which are available at similar transfer fees. 75 million, 60 million.
Yeah, but they're not
similar.
They're not. You say it's a numbers game, yes, but the wage structure is what is key to Liverpool. We're not going to be breaking that wage structure. Martinez could come in on a 180, 200 potentially, but we're not signing Mbappe and Haaland, so everybody can forget that right now. It's not happening. But
at £200,000, that would make him one of the top earners in the club. That's kind of the problem we're facing with trying to get Saul Niguez over the line. And again, I'm just being subjective here. If you're looking at numbers on a spreadsheet and you've got 60 goals in 60 games, Haaland, yeah, and the Torre Martinez, which is second fiddle to Lukaku, and also the Torre Martinez is going to look at it and go, am I going to get in and start when I could then potentially be the main man at Inter? In the here and now, yeah, it makes sense, but we've got to always consider what's around the corner. There's other bits of nip and tuck that need to be done in the Liverpool team also, like bringing in that Ginny-shaped hole that we've got in the midfield. Obviously, Harvey Elliott seems really, really promising, but it could be difficult for him to slot into that position straight away. So I would like to see someone come into that role. And just on that, before we close, because we're coming towards the end of the show as well, guys, he looked accomplished in that midfield area, and then we saw him switch into the front three, where I didn't think he looked as bright. Do you think that's to do with his energy levels towards the end of the game, or is that a case of he is a midfielder and he can play in that three in midfield? What's your thoughts?
I think he's young enough to adapt to both at the moment. I don't think we need to pigeonhole an 18-year-old into a specific position. I think he's still got lots of talent. He's very adaptable. He can do a job in that midfield, and he looked really positive and really past the player, a little bit of skill, that awareness. He reminds me a little bit of Pedri, watching him at the Euros in that similar position, similar mould. But he's still young enough to do a job on the right wing as well. And you know, let's be honest, 95% of the minutes this season, Mo Salah is playing on the right wing. So he's probably not going to get much chance over that side. But if we need him, very similar way that Salah, he may find himself on the right wing at times in the cup, coming off the bench if Salah needs a little rest. But I would think the majority of minutes that Elliott plays this season will be in that midfield three.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And Daddy Pig makes a really, really good point here as well. Elliott looks more like a playmaker. Yeah. He's not really a finisher. But I'd like to tug on the heartstrings here and appeal to people their hearts. If you remember when a young Coutinho came to the club, he didn't have that finishing ability. It was something that was heavily worked on with him in training. But he was a phenomenal playmaker. He knew how to open doors from a very, very young age and unlock defences. Could we see Harvey Elliott take on a very similar role in the club like Philip Coutinho did and start to progress as part of that midfield three and almost forming the Fab Four again, like we named them when they were all together in that role?
Absolutely. I completely agree. Yeah, I think my brother made a very similar comment as well with that. He was saying, since Coutinho's left, we've never really replaced that creativity in the midfield. It's always been a very engine room style, isn't it? And Thiago was kind of brought in to change that, but we didn't really see that till the back end, the last 10 games or so. But yeah, I agree. I think we need a little bit more creativity, a few more numbers, a few more assists, a few more goals from midfield. And I still don't think anybody, even including Thiago, is going to offer that. Thiago is quite good at assisting the assister, if you like. Fabinho is a ball winner. Henderson is a leader. Keita, Chamberlain, still not sure. Curtis Jones, again, not really hitting the assists and the goals tallies as much as we'd like. So, yeah, I think Elliott is a really good option in that midfield. And honestly, people say he's a playmaker, yes, but he is also a finisher. And as I mentioned in that warm-up today, outrageous. Any shot, any angle, any foot, top bins. He's a quality player, and he's going to be here for a very long time.
Yeah, we hope so, and we hope he kicks on, and we hope he actually starts to flourish in and around that squad. When you're putting a young player around players like Jordan Henderson, when you're putting a player like that around Thiago, Fabinho, Mane, Salah, Firmino, Virgil van Dijk, you've got so many personalities. James Milner, you've got so many personalities in that team which are going to have some kind of hand in their development. It was said in a commentary today watching the game that the senior players have been tasked with asking the younger players to go and express themselves in this pre-season, and I think we've seen Harvey Elliott do that as well, which is absolutely fantastic to see as well. Guys, just as we close, please make sure you're liking and subscribing, that you're smashing the comments box as well, that you're also heading over to the Red Sea podcast and dropping us a subscribe on there as well. You can catch us on Twitter, YouTube, and on Instagram. We're over at the LFC Daytrippers for the whole of the season, giving the live match reactions for you as well. Myself, Thiago's father, is going to be at Anfield tomorrow too, and I'm hoping to give live match reaction from outside the ground, and that way we can get a bit of a feel for the atmosphere. My co-host SS has been at the game today, so I'm going to give you the final verdicts on the game of man before we sign off and we let the lovely viewers return to their Sunday evenings.
No, I agree. I mean, I know it's only pre-season, but because it's a week before the start of the season, I'm going to be a little bit more brutal than normal. First half was great. We really got into the game. We had them on the back foot, but it was the same old story. We could not get that second goal. And unfortunately, whether it was the Robertson injury or the break in play, the second half was atrocious. It was really, really poor. The game drifted. We said it last season, the 45th to the 75th minute, you could go and make a cuppa and you wouldn't have missed a thing. So really disappointed with the second half performance. There weren't crazy amount of subs that we've seen in other games. Bilbao made quite a few. I think they're still a few weeks away from the start of the Liga season, but I was really disappointed in the second half with how it just disappeared into nothing, and we stopped creating chances and we held onto the ball for too long. There was moments when Trent, Salah and Elliott were on the right-hand side just playing keep ball, and it wasn't going anywhere. There was no way to get a cross in, and it was just wasting time. Whether we miss Robertson on the left to switch the play to, potentially, but it just shows you that this Liverpool team is very fragile if it changes its whole game on one player. So I still have my concerns and my worries that really we're not quite firing on all cylinders, and I'm quite happy that it's only Norwich in the first week, really.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what you said there as well. It did look very fragile in places, but like I said, we take it with a pinch of salt. It is only pre-season, only Norwich a week away. I'm hoping that we can start to see the season take shape. And Norwich seem to be our whipping boys, don't they? We've always had great success at Carrow Road.
Exactly.
We should rename it the Suarez Stadium, I'm sure. Because it's been a happy hunting ground for many, many years. Just quickly in the comments as well, thanks, my man. Thiago will be getting minutes tomorrow. You must be buzzing. I think he's out of the pre-season game, so I'm led to believe. So I'm a little bit upset that we're not going to see Thiago put on the red of Liverpool tomorrow. I was looking forward to that, but I don't think it's going to happen because he's a little bit away from full fitness. He returned after the international break with a little bit of a knock. We've got someone in the comments here agreeing with you, mate, as well. And I'd like to add, I do agree with some of what you said there as well. So, guys, just as we close, thank you for joining us for the Red Sea full time on the LFC Daytrippers. As I mentioned, you can catch us over at the Red Sea Podcast on Twitter and on Instagram and on YouTube. We also have a TikTok now as well. Please head over there, give us a like, a follow, and a subscribe. You'll be seeing much more of our faces on the match reactions going forward for the rest of the season. But it's bye from me, Thiago's father 89, and it's bye from my co-host, the Southern Scouser. SS, before you go, tell the viewers where they can find you personally.
Yeah, so I've still got my own YouTube channel, the Southern Scouser. So if you want to check that out, feel free. I've been down a little bit. I've been going through a little bit of a hard time lately, but I'm hoping to get the content back and firing soon. And yeah, the Southern Scouser at the South Scouts on Twitter and the Southern Scouser on Instagram. So guys, if you want to give me a follow. But yeah, it's all about the Red Sea Podcast. It's all about LFC Daytrippers, guys. Give them both a subscribe, both a follow. You're not going to want to miss a thing this season. It's going to be great.
I agree with you, mate. And just on that, you never walk alone, my man. And that's the key thing, and that's kind of the ethos of our club as well. One of the key things that we love about our club. You never walk alone. But thank you for joining us, guys. We look forward to seeing you for match reactions tomorrow from the next game. I'll be outside Anfield. My co-host will be behind the computer screen pulling the strings. Thank you for joining us. Once again, peace out from us guys over at the Red Sea Podcast.